Welcome back to Cardboard Swords and another Fab for Less budget brew. It's another of our £5 budget challenges that makes up part of our Bright Lights Battlebox series. And this time it's Maxx Nitro, brewed by Ian Porter, aka Nairoz. To add to the challenge, start the clock. 5 minutes and go!
So, Maxx Nitro is a young hero from Bright Lights, mechanologist like all of the other heroes, 4 intellect, 20 health, and an ability that only works if he's boosted this turn. Also grants any hyperdrivers he puts into play crank, which is a new mechanic that allows him to generate action points from removing steam counters from things. First off, I decided to take his iconic wrench Banksy. This attack costs 1, comes in for 3, but I can only activate this ability if I've cranked this turn. And if it threatens to put a steam counter on an item with crank when I hit. For the rest of the equipment suite, I've gone for Teklo base head for a little bit of armour, Galvanic Bender for some more armour but also battle worn, Vest of the First Fist for resources when one of my attacks hits, and the ever trusty Achilles Accelerator for giving me an extra action point when I need it as long as I've boosted, and a little bit of Arcane Barrier. For my sideboard, I've included some Spellfray gloves and a Spellfray tiara, just in case we come across any wizards who are trying to get a bit feisty with it. Onto the deck itself. Max wants to boost at least once a turn to be able to use his hero ability. I wanted to make sure I had some low cost boost cards so I could actually start off a turn by playing one of these and boosting. The ever reliable 0 to 60 and Zipper Hit, along with one of my favourite cards, T-Bone, which threatens some nice equipment destruction and equipment threat as long as I've boosted, which is, again, something we want to do with Max. For the newer cards, we've got Fender Bender, which is great considering how many mechanologists use equipment. And we have Underloop, one of the interesting new cards that's Overloop's little brother, which costs 1 less, comes in for 1 less, but has the same goes back into your deck effect if it hits. Also got Expedite, one of the new 0 for 3s, which threatens putting an item into play. Speaking of items, we've got 2 different types of items in this deck. We've got Hyperdriver, which synergizes with Max's ability, and everybody's favourite new card, Boom Grenade, which threatens some serious damage if an attack action card hits. I've also made sure to include some cards that boost his damage, such as Gas Up, Recharge, and Jumpstart, all of which work nicely with his hyperdrivers. So that's the deck. How do I want to play? So ideally I want to come in with a low cost boost attack to start my turn, probably breaking the chain to activate Max's ability to put a hyperdriver token into play and then crank it, and then depending on what I've got in my hand, either boost the damage of a second attack if I've got something like Recharge or Gas Up in my hand, or just come in with Banksy and just threaten a little bit more damage. It's not a very durable deck, but my hope is it can put some serious aggression on any of my opponents. The only change I'd make to this deck in a sideboard, I've got a couple of Signal Jammers, which I would put in for anything like Azalea or Chain, who like playing a lot of non-attack actions and getting quite tricky with it. This gives me a bit of protection against them without really disrupting my game plan, as I'm never going to be playing more than 1 non-attack action card a turn. Budget wise, this comes in as 49 cards for £4.29, so under budget. Let's see how it does on the table, and thanks Rob for the challenge.
Well done, Ian, you did it with time to spare. We've already had a TEKLOVOSSEN deck in this series and there's still a Dash database deck to come. We'll also have some gameplay using all these decks, so like, subscribe, and we'll see you then.